Hello and welcome back to the Gaming Techs channel, everybody. We're live on YouTube and Twitch, and here we are with our Forza Horizon 5 series. Starting the session off with the 2020 Ford Mustang GT500. This thing is fully modified and it's ready to rock. We're back because we got some seasonal championships to take care of, so we're gonna do that. This is our second stream of the day. We were playing Vice City earlier. We're getting pretty close to completing the Vice City, so feel free to check out that playlist. But for now, we're gonna be racing. Okay, the restriction... Let's see what the restriction is for this race. We got 3 events. So, looks like we have to use a car from China. Is that right? Yup. That's right. So, the only 2 cars that we have from China are these EVs. So... we're gonna have to use these EVs. There's no other way around it. Yeah, that kind of sucks because I wanted to use a car with an internal combustion engine. But we have to use an EV. What do we do now? We got no options. It's crazy that I have 2 of these same cars. And it's bone stock, so you know what? Let's just give it a go. We'll see how it does. I've never driven this car before. I think I have for like 5 seconds. 10 seconds maybe. But I've never done a race with it. Maybe I just tested it out. I think I have tested it out, yeah. But just like any other EV, it was super bland. You know. It didn't have the fun factor going for itself, so... Yeah, there's no gears, no sound. It's just a freaking EV, you know what I mean? We're maxed out already. Yeah, we're maxed out at 118 miles per hour. Which is like, what, 200 kilometers? So this is really funny. I know my gauges are in miles per hour, as you can see on the right hand side corner at the bottom. But inside the car, on the screen, is showing us kilometers per hour. But that's completely wrong. Because 120 would be like, 120 miles would be like 200 kilometers. So I don't know if it's the game or the car itself that got it wrong. But it's wrong. Yeah, there's no fun to it. Yeah, it's a nice car. Nice point A to point B car. With good handling and good traction. Looks decent. But that's about it. I don't know why it's in Forza. Honestly, makes no sense. Forza shouldn't have any EVs in it. But again, that's not my choice. It's the company's choice, the brand's choice. What kind of cars they want in the game and what kind of cars they don't want. So I'm gonna stop complaining and focus on winning the race. I like the light bar at the back. Looks like a Porsche or, you know, a Kia Stinger type of light at the back. Yeah. The seats inside the car are giving me Tesla vibes. Especially the white seats. Even the shape of them. They look like they're out of a Model 3 or something. Who knows? I wish it had like one extra gear or maybe a longer gear ratio. It runs out of gear so quick. This is basically your Chinese Model 3. Somewhere between Model 3 and Model Y. It looked bigger than a Model 3 and smaller than a Model Y, so... Everybody had the same car, same spec. Okay, for the next race, I think I want to modify this car. I mean, should I? Okay. Yeah, these seats look wider than Model 3 seats, but the shape, especially like the headrest part, is like pretty identical. Okay, I don't want to be seen in this thing. So let's just get the races done quick. Does China make any naturally aspirated cars or like even turbo cars? I think they do. So it's got a good power, not power to weight ratio, but like good power. It's kind of heavy because of the batteries. Man, it would be so nice if you could choose a natural gas car. Not natural gas, that would be different, but like internal combustion car. So we can put a bigger motor in here. No, I don't think I want to do that. Too bad we can't swap like an LS into it or any other engine. Let's just give it grippier tires, you know, make it handle even better. And some weight reduction. Can we even do weight reduction? No, we cannot. Wait, we can. I was in the wrong section. Oh wow, we can make it really light. 966 pounds lighter? Wow. I can't do that. That's the thing. Maybe I can. But then we can't have the best tires on it. That's fine. That's totally fine. We'll just make it work with the sport tire compound. So we gave it grippier tires, weight reduction. Wait. That's just a differential. I thought we could put a freaking gearbox in it, but no, we can't. I guess I'll make it a little lower. Race springs and dampers. It's got a better stance now. That's about it. It's not a bad looking car. Like, it's just that it has no sound and no character to it. Just your basic EV, you know. So this is what we're doing. Race brakes, race weight reduction, better tires, and better springs and dampers. It should feel lighter. Should accelerate a little faster. Can we adjust the final drive? Yeah, we can. Perfect. Okay, we are going to make the final drive longer. Not too long, but like, well, that's pretty long. Our 0 to 60 time really suffered there. Okay, that's better. Little slower 0 to 60, but our top speed is now 152 instead of 120 miles. Yeah, I think that's the best we can do for this car. Okay, I'm pretty done with it. Yeah, I'm done with the setup. There's nothing really to adjust here. Okay, let's see how it feels now. Yeah, the takeoff I can tell right off the bat is kind of slow now. But once it picks up speed, it's gonna go. You know what? I want to send more power to the rear. Can we do that? I think we might be able to do that. Oh no, I didn't get the differential. So here's what I'm gonna do. Let's just add the race differential in here so we can send more power to the rear. Make it a little bit more fun. So as you saw, we didn't add more power. We just took out weight, so and added grip. And now we're adding a better differential, race differential. We have better brakes as well, so now we have decent power to weight ratio, and we should be able to send more power to the rear. And we have a longer final drive for a little bit more top speed. But at the end of the day, it's still an EV, so let's not forget. So by sending more power to the rear, our 0 to 60 time really suffers. I think 75% power to the rear should be pretty good. Just a little bit going to the front. It spins the tires now. We should have less understeer. There we go. We can get the tail out now. Okay, we can slightly power slide this thing now. with more power going to the rear and lighter weight overall. Okay, time for the next race. So that's the most we can do while keeping this car in A class. Yeah, it feels better now. A little faster. Nice. I just want to be done with this championship. So that's the stock one right here. This is ours. Looks the same almost. Cool. Let's get it done. ASAP. I just heard somebody shift gears. What kind of car were they running? Well, we'll find out once the race is over in the leaderboard. So it looks like we do have a Chinese gas-powered car in this game. I just don't know what it's called. Look at that. There's no understeer at all. It's perfect. Just the right amount of oversteer. It power slides perfectly. Yeah, sending more power to the rear definitely helped. Plus, you know, lowering it and making it lighter also helped. It's a decent setup. I like it. Not bad for an EV, I guess. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wow, we're getting passed by these guys. And now they're trying to fight me. I wish we had more grip. I think we made it a little too late. Bro. We modded this thing for no reason, honestly. We're doing worse now. Okay, let's restart. I'm gonna make some changes. Let's see how it does now. Feels more balanced than last time. Let's just maintain this lead. Alright, we're gonna be finishing second. That's fine. Totally fine, because as long as we finish first again in the next race, we'll be good. We have 36 points. So looks like the Lincoln Co. company car, Lincoln Company 03, has a real engine in it. Is that right? Actually, I did check out that car last time. I think I even have one of those. Lincoln Company. Maybe I should use that. There it is. Perfect. I have two of the same cars. Well, one is a hatchback and the other one is a sedan. You know what? I really want to use this. So the hatchback is a front-wheel drive. And the sedan is all-wheel drive. That's nice. But it has the same engine, even the same power. Crazy. So this is what we're going to do. We're gonna modify this to compete against all those EVs. There we go. A real engine. Launch is good. Yeah, zero traction issues. I wonder how the hatchback does with just a front wheel drive and the same amount of power. I like this. It's giving me Audi A3 vibes. Not bad. Got a real engine, real sound. Got an 8-speed in here. Yeah, it's giving me Audi A3 vibes, man. Not quite an S3, but somewhere in the middle. The A3 Plus, since this car is called the O3 Plus. Okay. I think this is a good platform. Let's go ahead and modify it so it's in A class, so we can use it for the championship, for our final race. I think I have an idea of what I want to do to it. Wait, we can swap the engine? Damn. We can put a V8 in here. Well, we can't do that because that puts this car in S1. Needs to be an A class. Oh, look at that. A wide body kit for this thing? That looks wild. That actually doesn't look that bad. It looks decent. Even changes the roof color to black. I mean, from black to the body color, which is yellow. This mustard yellow. And we get those hood stripes. The heat extractor type stripes. I don't know if they're real or not. Maybe they are. And we get rid of the sunroof. So it makes it a real race car, you know? Makes it more rigid. Okay. Let's start with adding more power. Because again, we are going to be competing with the EVs. So it needs more power. That sounds pretty serious. Okay, we don't want to max out the engine because I do want better tires on here and better brakes. And a lowered suspension as well. The 8-speed's fine, honestly. Wait, I can get slick race tires and still be an A-class? That's really nice. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. I think I'm gonna go with the semi-slicks. Semi. And add a little bit more power to this car. The tire width is fine, 245 all around. I'm okay with that. And maybe we should change the wheels. I don't know if we're gonna have enough room for that. Okay, we can't really get a turbo, but we can get a bigger block. Awesome. From 2 liter, we are going to go up to 2.4. We can't do the pistons or turbo or anything else. Maybe the intercooler? Yeah, we'll do the intercooler. Oil cooling. Yep. Adds more weight, but again, this car is only 3,500 pounds without the weight reduction. And that EV, we had to do all that weight reduction to get down to 3,500 pounds. So this is the setup that I'm going to go for. We're getting everything on the engine but the turbo and the pistons. And race springs and dampers, race stiff, semi-slick race tires. Yeah. It's gonna do pretty good. Did I get brakes? Yeah, I did get brakes. Race brakes, race springs and dampers. Okay, perfect. So we're going up in power, up in grip, a little bit less weight. So now the real question is this gonna keep up with the EVs? Does it have what it takes to keep up with the EV powered cars? Let's find out. Let me change the color of this car real quick. I'm not a big fan of this color. All black? Yeah, let's go with all black. Should we paint the factory wheels? Let's do that actually. Let's give it a little more customized touch. Bronze maybe? Red. No. We don't have anything that looks like bronze. You know what? Instead of the factory color, I really like all black. Blacked out wheels, blacked out car. For the windows, I'll leave them, you know, untinted. We don't need to tint those. And to match the stitching inside the car and the seat belts, we're gonna paint the calipers yellow. Not quite yellow, but like that mustard looking color. Yeah, right here. Perfect. That looks pretty good. I like it. I like that. I mean, we didn't have to do all that, but I just wanted this car to look a little bit better. Hey, what's up? Thanks for joining. Alright, we're ready. And we no longer have to use the Chinese EV because we can use the Chinese gas-powered car. Alright, let me take a look at the differential here. Oh, it's front wheel biased, so it's driving so much like a front wheel drive car because most of the power is going to the front. Okay, I'm gonna send most of it to the rear. Okay, well, not that much. Right about here. I want it to be rear biased. So much better now. Well, that makes sense because the other car, the hatchback, was front-wheel drive only, and this sedan from Lincoln Co. was all-wheel drive, so it was a front-wheel drive biased all-wheel drive system, so that kind of makes sense. Okay, now we're ready for the last race of the championship. Here we are. We can finally use a gas-powered Chinese car instead of the Chinese EV. We actually have more horsepower in this thing. Less torque, but that's fine. That's totally fine. We're still gonna win. Let's do this. All those gears should make up for that torque loss. If we have an actual transmission, you know? We're already passing all the EVs, look at that! With less torque. Dude, this is so much better to drive compared to an EV. Yeah, just don't forget to get a sport or a race differential so you can send more power to the rear. If you don't do that, it's gonna be front wheel drive biased. Then you will run into understeer, and you don't want understeer. The fifth gear on this transmission pulls hard. I like how it's geared. We're still in the stock transmission. Alright, now let's just maintain the lead. Nice. And that championship is done. Another Exige S. We already have like 2 of those, maybe even more. Again, we didn't do it for the reward, we did it for the race. For the experience and the fun. I like this car. It's nice to drive something different once in a while, you know? Look at this interior. Wow. I like it. As you can see, the RPM gauge inside the car stopped revving at about 6,500, and the actual Forza gauge keeps on going. Okay, where is our next championship? Right over here. 3 more races. Let's do this. Volkswagen Corrado. So, looks like both of these are bone stock. There's nothing done to it. Well, for the first race, let's just go with the stock version. And for the next one, we'll modify it. The VR6, man, these motors sound good. These VR6 engines. I like the sound that they make. It's a nice exhaust note. I like the gauges, the dash. Very classy. Easy to read. Easy to see. Money shift. The gear ratio is really long. But it has good power. Get out of here, ID4. Was that an ID4? Not bad for a front-wheel drive car. It does pretty decent. I really like how it drives. You know what this thing needs? It needs a 10 speed. 10 speed and some cams. We gotta cam this engine out so it can rev a little higher. It would be a freaking monster then. Can you put a 10 speed with front wheel drive? I've never done that. We should do that. That should be fun. A front wheel drive, 10 speed. Alright, we're doing that right away after this race is done. We can actually turn under power, which is really rare when it comes to front-wheel drive cars. Usually they would just have a lot of understeer when you try to do that. But with this car, it somehow manages it pretty fine. And when you do run into understeer, you just let off the throttle while turning and, you know, it works out pretty good. It straightens the car out. Or, well, it doesn't straighten it out, it just helps it turn better. Wow, some long gears. We only use the first 3 gears in the entire race. This car must be only 5 speed. I'm just judging based off the gear ratios. Let's see how many gears it has. Yup, 5 only. Okay. Let's modify this thing. So it has some good power, good torque. Pretty light. The VR6 has decent torque, and this thing is not even a turbo. It's all naturally aspirated torque. Yep, no turbo on here. So we almost have the same amount of torque as our horsepower, but after we add some cams, we're gonna increase the horsepower to torque difference. We'll have more horsepower. Okay, I want some cams in here. I want a lighter flywheel so it can rev quicker. It can rev quicker and higher. And now we should put a race differential and a 10 speed. Yeah, why not a better clutch as well, so it can shift even faster. Lighter drive shaft, and so it needs to be in C class, so we're not doing anything else. That's it. Just maybe a little bit wider tires in the front. 225s instead of the 205s. We'll do that on the back as well. Get a squared setup going. And can we lower it while keeping it in B class? I mean C class? Yes. We can lower it. Which really helps with putting the power down. In a front wheel drive, that won't be the case in a rear wheel drive. You'll make it worse. Okay. So we can't add any more mods. Maybe we can add a little bit better brakes, just pads and lines, and a better fluid. Yep, why not? So nice chill setup. Nothing too crazy. The car is still in C class, but it should be a lot more fun to drive. It's still front wheel drive, so you know, we didn't add rear wheel drive or all wheel drive. Let's see how it does with the 10 speed. We still gotta adjust the gear ratios. It revs all the way up to 8,000 RPM now. Okay, the ratios are kind of long, so let's make them short. So it feels like a rally car. There we go. That's just perfect. That's perfect. We're in 9th gear. Okay. Where is our next race? Let's go. Some reverse donuts. Okay, that's enough. Dude, it handles real good for being a front-wheel drive car. I can't believe that. Even with the extra 50 horsepower. So this is the stock one, as you can see. This is ours. A little bit more, you know, souped up. That's some real good off-the-line traction. VR6 for the win. Dude, the 10-speed helps us so much. We got acceleration at like any given speed. It doesn't even matter. We lost her end. Perfect. We already have one of those. Converted to rear-wheel drive. Now we have an actual front-wheel drive Veloster. Okay, what's next? What's next? I think there's only one event left. The trial. Let's just check out the map. Make sure nothing is hiding from us. Oh, there's another one down here. Wait, this is not the trial. That's just a hilltop scramble. Okay, we'll do this first, and that's the trial, I think. Yep. So 2 more events, and that's it. Let's change your car now. Well, we have a variety of different cars here. I like the Pulsar GTI-R. It's a great setup that I have on there. A nice little fun car. This is an interesting map. Oh, I was going too fast there. It's all good. Easy. Alright, let's drive down to the trial. So the restriction is a B-class Ford Mustang, and I think I have the right car for that. Let me double check. Ford Mustang, that's in B-class. I think I have one. Pretty sure I do. I have my A-class Mustang. We have two C-class Mustangs, another A-class. No, I don't have a B-class Mustang. Thought I did. Another factory A-class, B, S2. I thought I had one, but turns out that we don't have one. That's totally fine because we have a bunch of, you know, factory Mustangs that we can modify. So looks like the Mach 1 would be a good contender for that. Yeah, because as you can see, we have one in A-class. So just gonna max this out to B-class and we're all set. Yep, that's the plan. Yeah, it has to be this one. So even after we modify this to be in top of E class, we'll still have one remaining in Z class. That's even better. One Mustang for each class. That's exactly what we want. Alright. Let's take it straight to the auto show, our garage, and modify it. Let's just start with the suspension because that was real loosey-goosey. Let's make it stiff. And it's pretty heavy. Well, it's not as heavy as the newer Mustangs, but it's kind of heavy, so let's do some weight reduction. Let's get rid of 716 pounds. Perfect. So now that it's stiff and light, we are gonna add more power. I'm not sure that I want to put a LS in the Mustang. That kind of feels wrong. Okay, that's gonna be an overkill. Putting 1500 horsepower in a rear-wheel drive Mustang that has barely any supporting mods to put down that power. No, let's not do that. Since this is a trial, I am gonna make this thing into all-wheel drive, just so, you know, it can perform better. And we're gonna add a root style supercharger. Because, you know, makes more power and it sounds better. And we'll leave the stock engine in here. But we are gonna add a really aggressive cam in it. And we need 10 speed. So we can go through all those gears really fast, really quick. And always be in the right gear for the right speed, for the optimal acceleration. You don't need any of that. A spoiler delete? I don't know. I kind of like the spoiler on here. Let's work on the tires now. So it looks like we cannot upgrade the tires. Car's gonna go straight into A class. But we can make them wider. Instead of 225s, let's go with 255s because, you know, we don't have that much power. Wait, can we do 275s all around? No, we can't do that. 295s in the rear and 275s up front. That might be a decent setup. That's gonna be a lot of rotational mass, but we can counter that with some lighter wheels, of course. So the lightest we can put on here looks like 48 pounds. Wow. That's a significant difference in weight. Yeah, it's much lighter. Let's just go with these right here. Or these? No, not really. The ones that we picked out earlier were just fine. These are just fine. So yeah, we have heavier, wider tires, but we have lighter wheels now, so that should, you know, cancel each other out. Should be pretty, you know, even. We didn't take much from it or add too much to it. And better brakes, yeah, why not? We can definitely benefit from better brakes. A lighter drive shaft, we already got that. Already got this. Already got that. Here's what I'm thinking. I feel like I feel like we're putting too much tire on this thing. Because after all, this is all-wheel drive, right? Yeah. That might be a little too much tire on this thing. Let's go with 245s all around. Well, 255s in the rear. And add a little bit more power to this thing. An exhaust? Yes. Sounds like a real muscle car now. And intake. And a lighter flywheel. We can't get the lightest, so we'll just get the street flywheel. And this should be a pretty good setup for a maxed out B-Class Mustang. Let's send 70% power to the rear. Okay. We're done with the setup already. That was a quick and easy maxed out B-Class setup. We have a pretty similar setup for the maxed out A-Class Mustang. We just have a little extra stickier tires and a little more power, but it's pretty similar to this. Okay, feel like there's not enough grip. Car feels too light, so I mean, we did do the max weight reduction on it, but The problem is we don't want it to be that light. We want the car to be a little more stable. We can't add stickier tires, so maybe we'll add some downforce, which puts this car in A class, but let's see what we can do here. That's perfect. It's back in B class after adding some downforce on the front and back. Can we add stickier tires now? I don't think it's gonna be possible. No, there's no way we can do that. What about if we get the vintage tires? Yeah, no, no. What if we get the vintage tires and get rid of the weight reduction? Well, I'm just gonna try it out. I don't think it's gonna work, but let's try it out. Oh, wait, that's gonna work. So we can't max out the car. I mean, can't max out the weight reduction, but we can go for something like sport weight reduction, which is lighter than factory. Not the lightest. But now we can have those vintage tires with extra grip and downforce for extra grip. And we even have a little more room for extra power. Or no? Do we? No, no. What just happened? How did we end up in 705? That's not right. Okay, so we need to go with street weight reduction. Not the race weight reduction. That's okay. So a little more weight. Can we get better tires now since we have some room? Not really. No. Not possible. So, I mean, the vintage tires are more grippier compared to the stock tires, so that's fine. We can go wider in width, but I don't think that really matters, does it? Yeah, we should go a little wider maybe. On the front and back. Or no. Use that for more power. Because we have aero and grippier tires. So we'll use that for extra power. What else can we add to this thing? Racing carburetor. Race ignition. And a flywheel that's even lighter? No. Alright. Made some changes to the setup, so the car is heavier now, but has more power and more grip. And is still in B class. We're ready for the trial. Gotta adjust this setup. That feels better. Decent grip. Let's do this. Let's do this, Team Blue. pretty solid. Just gotta do this one more time. Come on, team. Did we win? No, are you guys kidding me? It's gonna go to third round now. It's all good. Maybe next time. By next time, I mean next race. That's gonna be the decider. Oh wait, what? What's happening? That's nice. So yeah, looks like we are going to third round. Alright. Gotta do the same thing one more time. Ooh, tough race, man. Tough race. I mean, again, we were racing against unbeatable Dravitars, so that's no exception, you know. But we won. After 3 tough races, Team Blue wins. Wow. That was crazy. So what do we win? It's funny how Team Blue has all red cars and Team Red had all gray cars. Wow, a Formula Drift Mustang. That's nice. That's real nice. Damn, dude. Damn. We did some nice races today. Got all the championships done. There's nothing else left on the map. No more seasonal championships. Oh, wait. This one's hiding from us. No way. There's still one left. Okay. I guess we're not done for today. I almost didn't see that one. That's crazy. Alright, we'll drive down there in the Drift Mustang, the Formula Drift. Wow, look at that. 2015 Formula Drift Mustang. Perfect. Alright, I'm just gonna drink some water here. I'll be right back. And then we're gonna get done our last race for today. And I am back. No gauges, look at that. It's fully stripped out. No AC vents, but instead of those we got some air to fuel ratio gauges and boost gauges, it looks like. Water temp, oil, and oil. And we got a bunch of more gauges down there where the radio is supposed to be. So this thing is, you know, serious. It means serious business. Wow. Oh, the post call? This thing is fully dialed in, man. Look at that steering angle. So this thing is only a 4-speed because it's got the drift 4-speed in it. It's not really meant for top speed. It's all for drifting. We got plenty of torque in each gear. Yeah, it's really meant for drifting, as you can tell. You know, Formula Drift. Wow, did I just beat my personal best? I'm not too sure. That's gotta be this run, right? 779,204. Crazy. Wow, we have so many options for this race. So it needs to be a Japanese B-class car. Wow, we have so many. Which one should we pick? You know what? I'm just gonna go with the R34. It's got the right power to weight ratio. Nice balanced all-wheel drive car. Can't go wrong with that. Let's do this. Wow, this is giving me Horizon 6 feels already. Nice Japanese theme. I like it. Oh no. Okay, this car has no grip, bro. Literally no grip. Maybe it's the surface that we're on. This is really slick. Plus it's snowing on top of that, so I'm gonna try not drifting it because it's not a drift car. Neither does it have any drift tires, so this time we're gonna drive it like a race car, not a drift car. It's a real nice map. I like it. A little too fast there. As long as we don't go off the mountain, we're all good. Nice. (2012) GTR Black Edition. Nice. All right. That's it for today.